The heads of two of Nigeria's two key petroleum regulatory agencies have resigned, triggering a new round of leadership changes at the heart of the sector. Farouk Ahmed, that's the Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, and Gbenga Komolafe, Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, have both tendered their resignations, bringing to an end 4 years at the helm of agencies established under the Petroleum Industry Act. Now, President Bola Tinubu has forwarded the names of their proposed replacements for expedited confirmation at the Senate. In recent days, NMDPRA boss Farouk Ahmed faced public allegations of economic sabotage and corruption, including a widely reported petition by Aliko Dangote accusing him of financial impropriety. We're now being joined by Director at Blue Marina, Joseph Nwakwue, to discuss these leadership changes and the likely impact on the oil sector. Good afternoon and many thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. I hope you're doing well. And so let's just get straight into it. Now, with these resignations that we've witnessed and the names that have been submitted for the potential replacements, how do you foresee things playing out? Are we moving in the right direction, or are we about to repeat history with the nominees?
Well, I think it's too early to say what the specific, the announcement I saw didn't specify the reasons for the resignation, whether it was voluntary or not. But the PIA expects that there will be some tenure protection. And until we have more information, it's difficult to say what exactly led to the resignations.
Indeed, Mr. Nwakwue, how would you assess the period before these resignations at both agencies? Was it proactive in any way, despite all we've been hearing, the negative rhetorics about their conduct, as it were?
Well, I think we need to make a distinction. The agency, the institution itself, and the head, right? If you ask from where I sit, I think that the two agencies were pretty much doing what they're supposed to do. They were on track. And if there are, until we saw the allegations about the personal conduct of somebody, we need to take that separately. I try to draw a line between what the agency was doing and what the individuals do. So having said that, my assessment is that for NMDPRA and NUPTC, I think they were, given that these are new, relatively new institutions, I think a lot of work has gone into getting them to where they are today. And to a very large extent, I think they've done very well, given where they're coming from. I mean, remember that these entities were set off from the rubbles of the defunct agencies, regulatory agencies, DPR and PPPRA and all that. So integration, building a new culture, there are quite some heavy lifting that has been done. So if you ask me, I think they were on track. Maybe not as fast as some of us would wish, but pretty much a lot of work has been done to get them to where they are today.
All right, of course, you acknowledge the work that's been put in already, but in terms of those that are going to fill these gaps, if you were to set the agenda in terms of the reforms that we need to see, what would those reforms look like to get us to where we aspire to be?
Yes, and there are elements to this that I think we need to focus on. There has been some regulatory certainty. A lot more work needs to be done to reassure the investment community that we are certain about what we're doing. There needs to be a lot more clarity and transparency. I think that is one major challenge that probably all regulators in Nigeria have to deal with. So I think the business of building confidence is very key. All the issues around conduct and all that, it's about lack of confidence. So I think there's need for the agencies to focus on building confidence and creating a transparent system that people will see that what they are doing, they're not just doing it for personal benefits, but along the lines of what they're expected to do. So there's quite a bit of work to do. I think that the new leaders should deepen those reforms. We need to have clarity, regulatory clarity. They need to maintain regulatory independence, and they need to build investor confidence. I think those are very key elements of what we need to do.
When you say regulatory independence, specifically, how has that impacted your area of operations in the industry?
Well, regulatory independence has several aspects, but I will just use a simple instance. When the regulator makes a determination as to the path to take, it is my expectation that all players in the field, just like the referee, when the referee blows the whistle, everybody should stop playing, right? So we shouldn't have the regulator being doubted or being accused or being bullied. I think that's something that we need to protect the regulatory space and make sure that, but that comes from, confidence building. The regulator has to show that he's doing the right thing at all times. And when that is done, it will be protected. So those are things we need to work on. I mean, the issues around the refining space, you had all the noise. It's part of what the regulator sees the entire industry. The regulator should be able to make the right calls, and when they do that, I don't think we should be second guessing them. And that's the heart of regulatory independence.
Of course, now if we look at the Dangote refinery context, we know that these resignations are coming amid the of Dangote's battle with regulators. Do you think that new leadership should be relatively a bit more accommodating or maintain what is renowned to be the tough quality and licensing standards?
So I think the general answer is if the regulator is independent, then I don't think we go into a football match believing that we can bully the referee and for him to blow in our favor. I think the regulator is like the referee in a football match. His decision should be final, but that decision has to be founded on solid grounds. And if that's the case, then there's no reason why it should be challenged. And if there's need to challenge it, we should follow the appropriate channels as well.
Okay, now if it's found that these allegations that were made by Dangote, if it's found that it's actually true and the NMDPRA was compromised as alleged, how do we ensure that these new entrants, this team, isn't equally susceptible to pressure from powerful oil interests?
The way I will approach that, I think let's step back a bit. What I think we're dealing with in that space specifically is kind of policy dissonance. I think the policy is not clear. And I think that's where the ministry that is supposed to be the policy arm is not doing what it's supposed to do. I think we need to ask ourselves, what's our policy around these issues? We need to have a clear-cut policy, and regulation should be built on the basis of that. So my sense is what has happened, I don't think, and this is my personal view, I don't think that the NMDPRA has been accused. I think individuals within have been accused, and there are processes for dealing with that. So the institution itself, we have to ask ourselves, are they making the right call? If they are not, why not? Is it lack of competence, or they are compromised as an institution? That is how I will approach that. If they're making the right call that is fully aligned with the policy for that in that sector, then we should protect them.
And if they're compromised as an institution, what happens then?
if they are compromised as an institution, of course, head should rule. There shouldn't be any sacred cows. It's either they're incompetent or compromised. Either way, head should rule. I think that's a natural thing to do.
All right.
But you have to have a sense. My point is there has to be an alignment between the policy and the regulations that are supposed to implement them, right? And once we are fully aligned, there shouldn't be an issue of institutional complicity, if you will. I struggle with that a little bit.
What about stakeholders in terms of these regulations and adherence to those regulations? Are they also making suggestions, such as yourself, to the regulatory authorities on the way to go regarding development of the sector?
Yes. The regulatory space, rulemaking is part of what they do, and they consult. So there's always stakeholder engagement along those lines. So yes, I see, and this, especially in this sector, there are a lot of stakeholders. Everybody's a stakeholder. So the engagements are continuous. It's something that we participate at various levels in. So I think that's key to making sound and implementable regulations. So that's part of the process.
All right. We'd like to thank you for your insight, Director at Blue Marina, Joseph Nwakwue. Thank you for joining us here on Newsday.